Hey, what's up guys? Frank here with another video, and today I wanted to talk about why I canceled my Adobe subscription and what I'm going to do instead. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about the apps that I'm going to use instead and the alternatives that I chose. So let's not waste time, let's go right in. Okay, so 2 weeks ago I decided to try out Adobe's product because I found a way to get it for cheaper using the student plan. But ultimately, after these 2 weeks, I decided to cancel it because it just didn't feel right for me and it was giving me headaches. So I decided to cancel it. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why I canceled it. But if you're going to cancel your Adobe's plan, make sure that you do it within 14 days, because if you don't, then you're probably stuck for the whole year. So the first point that I wanted to talk about is that it's not about the pricing, okay? And as a solo entrepreneur or freelancer or whatever you want to call it, I'm fortunate enough to have the money to pay for softwares, okay? And so money is not really an issue. And to be completely honest, I have no problem spending money on things that I need or that I want to invest in. And to go back to what I said earlier, I got the Adobe Creative Cloud using the student plan, which to be honest is so cheap that just getting this plan, I kind of felt like a thief, okay? But my problem here is not the money, okay? My problem is simply the business model, okay? It is the subscription. The subscription is just crazy, and I just think it's a bad business model, and I simply don't respect that. Which basically leads me to my second point, which is a subscription isn't ownership. Because when you subscribe to a service, you don't own anything, okay? And so, for example, you subscribe to Netflix, then by subscribing to Netflix, you can use Netflix. But the moment you stop paying for Netflix, then you can no longer use Netflix. And it's basically the same thing with Adobe. You basically pay for these softwares as a service. And so the moment you stop paying for the service or the subscription, then everything is over. You no longer have access to the softwares. And so when you subscribe to Adobe Creative Cloud, you pay premium price and you're not actually purchasing anything and you're not actually owning anything. You're renting. So that means that the moment you decide to stop paying for whatever reason, okay, maybe you're taking a break, maybe you're short on money, maybe you want to try another thing, and you want to cancel your Adobe Creative Cloud to not waste money, right? And basically by canceling your Adobe's subscription, you lose everything. And so if you depend on Adobe to work and make money, then you basically lose everything. You lose your workflow. Why? Because you didn't purchase anything. You didn't own anything. You don't own anything. Which basically leads me to my second point, which is commitment to learning. And what I mean by that is that Adobe Creative Cloud products are very, very complex, okay? And so in the last weeks, I was able to test them, and my opinion is that these softwares are probably the most complex softwares that I've ever tried, and I spend most of my life on the computer, so that gives you an idea, okay? And so to use these programs, you have to put a lot of energy, you have to put a lot of time and money also, because you have to pay for the subscription, just to learn about these software. You didn't work anything, you didn't make any money yet, you're just simply trying to learn. And so in the end, you need to be committed, okay? You need to have the motivation to learn the software. And so in my case, it's not really the motivation to learn that is missing, but it's just that I don't want to be forced and I don't want to be dependent on Adobe, because Adobe is basically asking for your commitment. And later on, you don't know what's going to happen, and ultimately you might lose that commitment, okay? And so if you lose your commitment to Adobe, then you lose all the skills that you built, and you lose everything that you learn, because again, you didn't purchase anything. So if you unsubscribe from Adobe, then you lose everything, including your skills. I mean, yes, I'm sure you can transfer some skills into other softwares, but you have to change your workflow. So ultimately, I think that Adobe needs more competitors. And so this is exactly what I decided to do by canceling my Adobe subscription. And with this money, I decided to purchase and own the competitors' softwares. And so by doing that, I have to pay more money up front, but I don't really mind in my case, because I think that in the long run, and if these companies that I purchase do the right thing, then I think that you save money by owning the softwares. And it also helps me to sleep at night and to not have to deal with subscription. And so now let's talk about the alternatives that I'm going to use for the Creative Cloud, okay? And I'm simply going to talk about the softwares that I actually need and that I actually use, and not the other ones, okay? And so the first software that I wanted to talk about is Adobe Premiere Pro. And instead of using Adobe Premiere Pro, I decided to purchase DaVinci Resolve, and DaVinci Resolve has a free version, and there's also a paid version, and the paid version is obviously more complete, but I decided to purchase the software. And so the reason I purchased DaVinci Resolve is because I use video editing to create these YouTube videos. And so for me, video editing is a great investment. And so I purchased this software. And yes, it's a little bit expensive upfront, but again, I think that on the long run, and if the company do everything right, then I think you save money and you're able to build great skills. Now, the second software that I wanted to talk about is Photoshop. And instead of using Photoshop, I purchased Affinity Photo 2 to do everything related to pixel and raster designing. And so far, I only purchased it this morning, so I didn't try it that much, but this is what I'm going to use. And also related to Photoshop, I'm also going to use Kittle. And Kittle, I have the Pro version here, which is basically $10. And it's a small subscription, but ultimately, I think one of my goals would be to remove this subscription as well. So we'll see how that goes. And so then the next software that I wanted to talk about is Illustrator for vector designing. And instead of using Designer, what I'm going to do is that, again, I'm also going to use Kittle again, but I'm also going to use Affinity Designer 2 and Inkscape and also Figma. Now, yes, right now I talked about many tools, and I think that's because each of these tools have something unique and have something useful, and so I'm planning to use all of these tools, but I might end up using maybe one or two, and we'll see how that goes exactly, okay? So those are my thoughts about that. So now the next software that I wanted to talk about is Adobe Express. And Adobe Express is kind of similar to Canva. And in my case, again, I'm going to use Kittle. And Kittle, I think, is a cheaper alternative to Canva and also to Adobe Express. But the reason I want to use Kittle is because, yes, it's a subscription, but since I learned designing with Canva, I mean, the fact that I'm using Kittle here is kind of having something to fall on, okay? And so since I'm not very used to all these great tools, I know that I can do things with Canva. And so having Kittle, I know that I can still make designs easily, and so it's just a software to fall back on. Now, the next software that I wanted to talk about is Adobe Firefly. Now here in this case, this is AI, okay? And In my mind, as of right now, I have two things that I can replace Firefly. And the first thing is DALL-E 3. And as of right now, I think that DALL-E 3 is the best AI image generator. And so you can use DALL-E 3 for free with Microsoft Designer. So that's really, really cool. And also you can have DALL-E 3 using ChatGPT with OpenAI. But the thing that I don't like with ChatGPT and OpenAI is that to have access to the AI DALL-E 3, you have to pay a monthly subscription, and it's not super expensive, but for me it's around 30 Canadian dollars. So in USD it's about $20, I think. So what I've been thinking here is that instead of using DALL-E 3, I was thinking about installing Stable Diffusion on my PC so that I can be able to create my own AI images with my own graphic card, okay? And so that way, by using Stable Diffusion on my computer, I would be able to avoid another subscription if I decide to use DALL-E 3. And so that's an idea that I have. And so if you want to see more into this, let me know, because I might create videos about that, okay? And so in conclusion, my goal as of right now is to improve my graphic designing skills and also my video editing skills. But I want to do so with software that I can rely on because I actually purchased them or that I own them. And these softwares, they don't necessarily have to be perfect, and they don't have to have all the crazy features, because ultimately I'll probably don't even need all the features, but I just want them to be good enough for my needs, okay? That being said, they can also be free and open source, but the thing that I don't like with free and open source software is that they usually end up being buggy and outdated, and so I don't really like that. And so in my case, I have no problem paying more money up front if that means that I can purchase and own a good software. But one thing is sure is that I will try as much as possible to stay away from any subscription and anything that has too many upgrades. I want to avoid subscriptions and I want to avoid crazy upgrades, but I don't mind paying a new license, like in a reasonable way. And as of right now, I have 3 subscriptions for my business, and usually I try to keep them around maybe $10, okay? So as of right now, my 3 subscriptions are Amazon Prime Duo, which is basically $10 per month. And I also have Microsoft 365, which is $8 per month. And right now I have Kindle, which is also $10 per month. And so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that this video was helpful to you, and if this video was valuable to you, you could consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and if you have any questions, you can leave them below in the comment section and I will answer everything. And you could also consider watching this video right here where I explain why I'm staying away from Adobe, okay? So that's it. Peace.
Hi.